Well, coming up next, I have another guest right now, Dana Jean Walter of Kamp Athena. And so I love seeing you. I loved reading about you last night. Kamp Athena, you teach women to sword fight as a healing modality. And so tell me what your story is with this.
Well, thanks for having me here. I have been a sword fighter for a very long time. I started at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival and was doing a lot of stage combat chess games and stuff there. And as I retired and then overcame cancer in 2016, I turned what I loved, which is singing and sword fighting, into this healing modality because I'm just finding that women are constantly challenged with us having to take our bits out. And this was a very nice combination of how I could take these two things that I love. And when you know sword fighting, you walk through the world differently and you become less of a victim and less of a target for a predator. And so there's all these things that women have challenges with our bodies and things that's just dovetailed into this beautiful modality. Plus a martial art in general is all about body, mind, spirit connection. So that's kind of how Kamp Athena was born. And since I really rock on Athena, she's been with me for a very long time. She kind of reminds me of how powerful my mom is. So I just really gravitated toward this and wanted to create a space for women to heal.
Nice. Well, we've seen sword fighting, especially kick-ass sword women fighting on, Game of Thrones and Witcher, and it seems like a few other things that are really, current. So when you see those characters come on screen, are you going, yeah, that's what I do?
Yes, especially when we have people telling us these days that zero women can sword fight. We have in archaeological digs all over the planet, we're finding more and more evidence that women have been fighting for a very long time alongside their male counterparts in protecting their villages, protecting their tribes. So the thing I love about Kamp Athena is I encourage the women, when you have a sword in your hand, you do not apologize about anything. And trying to find your relevance and your sovereignty in this day and age is getting a little bit easier. Those of you that have come before us and our mothers and grandmothers, they are who we walk forward continually with at our back, so to speak. And so what we do in the sacred space of working on the martial art and working on ourselves, I call it the workout that works in, because we really have to address a lot of our rage and a lot of our lack of voices. And through the power of the sword, we're able to use that as a lightning rod to engage ourselves in our surroundings, become more situationally aware, and ask ourselves, who do we want to be in this moment? Especially in challenging times like now, who do you want to be? Well, I'm a badass queen, so I'd like to engage more women in being badass queens and getting their daughters involved in being badass queens, because it's time. It's our time. We're needed.
So if I sign up for one of your classes, or is it just the camp itself? Is that a one time a year? Do you have ongoing camps? And so how long, is it a 45-minute, an hour process? Tell me about that.
Well, we do 6-week sessions, which are 2 hours a week. So you cannot just, it's not like a class where you come in and you do it and you're done. Martial art is a lifestyle, just like yoga training is a lifestyle. So it is something that I really ask women to ask themselves if they're going to invest in themselves and commit. So you come into a 6-week level 1 class. I have people that have been in level 1 for 2 years, because that's just what it takes. And it's about what you put into it. So we are an ongoing, we do have special events that happen. Like I'm doing a girls camp for 1 week this summer, virus provided. And I'm also bringing in a world-renowned martial artist to teach hula and lua intensive in October, Michelle Manu from Los Angeles. And so we do specific things like that, but it is an ongoing class that you can engage in 6 weeks at a time.
Now, do you have your sword nearby? Are you giving us a demonstration?
No, I have a chandelier above my head, and I'm sorry.
Darn.
I like my stuff too much to not break it.
Okay, but how long would a sword be that women? I mean, when we, again, Game of Thrones, we're looking at these, 5-foot broadsword type things. Is that the type of thing? I mean, do you provide a sword for people?
We do provide swords. We have a training sword that we work with that is non-steel. I have an actual process in our situation where you get steeled. A steel sword to buy a really good Western martial arts sword is about $1,500 plus. So you kind of better like what you're doing before you invest in that. So we do provide the swords. We are doing Western martial arts as opposed to Eastern martial arts. So we deal with things that are European based. Swords. So we do an Italian rapier style. That is the start out sword. And then once you learn the basics of sword fighting, you can put any kind of sword in your hand and be able to do it. It just depends on the length of it will change based on this type of sword that it is.
Okay.
So we do Italian rapier. So it's a long,
Okay.
like 48-inch sword.
Okay, so I'm a fan of forged in steel, which sounds bizarre.
No, it's awesome.
But I love watching, mostly guys. There's occasionally a woman once in a while who create a sword. But so you like the Italian rapier? Is that what you just said?
Correct.
And is it because it's balanced? Is it lightweight in your hand? I mean, what power does this give you?
Well, it's one of the weapons. I could go for days on sword history, and we are very lucky to have Arms and Armor here in the Twin Cities, which is an internationally renowned armory. Chris Poor and Craig Johnson, those guys were just blessed, and they're dear friends of mine. So they're really great to like look for the history. But the reason I picked Italian rapier is because it is the beginning of the time in swords where it's a personalized weapon, as opposed to a weapon that you use in war or battle. It is something that people would wear on them, not unlike the equivalent in our modern age is a handgun. It is a personalized weapon for personal protection. So that's kind of where it kind of sort of starts and then moves further into we're in the 1600s with this sword style. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more delicate, and it leads up to the musketeer era. So more of a fencing blade.
Sort of more like needle. And more, I think, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of,
a little bit,
kind of, yeah.
Needle.
It's like needle, yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. Tell people how they can find you.
You can find Kamp Athena on Facebook, and that is the best way to get a hold of us right now. Just because this is something that I have to query with people. It is not for everybody, but I'm especially looking for the women that have never done sports, that have are broken or feel like they need to recover from an injury, because no one is attending to that community. And I even have worked, had people ask me if they're in a wheelchair. You can work. Yes, I can teach you sword fighting in a wheelchair. If you have the will and the perseverance to do so, you can overcome anything. And that's one of the things that's beautiful about sword work. So they can find me on Facebook and message me, and we're hoping to start new sessions again once all this is over. But right now we're just trying to get people into the idea that you can be a badass chick and be a queen. So
all right,
bring it.
All right. Thank you, Dana Jean of Kamp Athena. We really appreciate hearing from you. And hopefully once this is all over, women will want to feel badass and go after and get some sword fighting training from you.
Thanks, Diane. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Well, stay with us. We've got more just ahead. And by the way, anytime that we have a little break, the